Silence doesn't beg. It exposes. They told you silence is weakness, that if you don't speak, you'll be forgotten. Hook, that's the lie that keeps you chasing people who stopped listening a long time ago. Before we tear it down, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because what you're about to hear will change how you move forever. Hey folks, imagine this. A huge antique mirror in a dark room. No music, no noise, just stillness. Most people can't stand that room. They fidget, they crack jokes, they check their phone, they run for the door. Why? Because when the noise stops, the truth starts talking. My friends, silence is that room. It shows people who they really are when there's nothing left to perform for. Think of a balloon pumped too big. It looks strong, but one quiet pin ends the show. That's what 30 days of silence does to an ego. It finds the weak spot they pretended wasn't there. Or picture a pond at sunrise, smooth like glass. One tiny drop hits, and ripples spread to every edge. Your silence is that drop. Small at first, but nothing stays untouched. You've been told, if you care, you should reach out. Cute line. But caring without self-respect is just begging with a smile. Another line they sell you. Silence means you're bitter. Number. Silence means you choose peace over arguments that never change. As a wise voice put it, he who guards his mouth guards his mind. Not every battle needs your voice. Some battles are won by your absence. Let's make it fun for a second. Imagine their ego like a loud DJ who thinks the party is all about them. You step out, and suddenly the crowd thins. The music's still loud, but it doesn't hit the same. The DJ turns the volume up, throws on confetti, yells into the mic, "We're fine." But the energy's gone. That's what your silence does. It cuts the power to the show. Another picture. A grand castle with bright banners and smiling guards. From far away, it looks unbreakable. Get close and you'll see hairline cracks in the stones, vines pulling at the walls, the ground shifting under the weight. The banners look strong to strangers. You know better. Silence doesn't smash the gate. It lets time and truth do the work, brick by brick. Here's the deal, my friends. We're not using silence to hurt anyone. We're using it to heal ourselves, to stop wasting words on ears that only hear ego, to step back from the noise and stand in our worth. You are not an emergency line. You are not their daily fix. You are a standard. When you pull your energy back, the real ones feel it, and the fakes expose themselves loud and fast. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. That's the heart of this journey. 30 days of silence isn't about revenge. It's about discipline. It's about breaking the habit of chasing what never respected you. It's about letting time, not texting, reveal what's real. Yes, you'll feel the pull. You'll wonder if they notice. You'll want to send that just checking in message. Don't. Your future self is watching you right now, hoping you choose strength. So here's the promise. Stay with me through this, and you'll see how silence cracks ego, shifts power, and brings you home to yourself. You'll stop asking, do they care, and start asking, do I? Because the moment you choose quiet over chaos, you win. Write this in the comments. Silent, strong, undeniable. Press like, hit subscribe, and stay with me. Number 1, day 1 to 5, the illusion of control. Silence is the ultimate weapon of power. Charles de Gaulle said that, and my friends, if there's ever a moment to see those words come alive, it's right here in the very first days of your silence. These are the days where nothing seems to be happening, but everything is already in motion. Their ego stands tall like a statue in a town square, polished, proud, pretending it can never crack. But here's the secret. Statues don't crumble in a single strike. They wear down with time, with weather, with the quiet forces no one can see until the first piece chips away. In these first 5 days, they believe they're untouchable. Their mind whispers lies to them with a smug smile. I've got this under control. They'll come back. They always do. It's like a carnival house of mirrors. Every reflection distorted, making them look bigger, taller, stronger than they really are. Wherever they turn, they see what they want to see: power, control, certainty. And because you've always been the one filling the silence in the past, the texts, the check-ins, the small apologies, that's the reflection their ego trusts. It's a pattern, and egos feed on patterns the way a lion feeds on prey. Predictability makes them feel safe. But you, my friends, you just shattered that pattern, and they don't even realize it yet. Their ego is so inflated, it smooths over the cracks. Don't worry, it tells them. This is normal. They'll reach out any minute. The illusion still holds. For now. But beneath the surface, your silence is already drilling hairline fractures into the ice they're standing on. Think about standing on a frozen lake in spring. At first, it feels solid. You tell yourself it's safe. You even stomp your feet to prove it. But deep below, the ice is thinning. Invisible cracks form, and the moment the wrong step is taken, the sound of that faint creak sends a shiver through your spine. That's what these first days of silence are doing to them. They can't hear it yet. They're still humming the same tune in their head, convinced they're in control. But the silence is softening the ground beneath their ego. Now let's step inside their mind. The thoughts they'll never admit are already trying to whisper through the cracks. Why haven't I heard from them? Did something happen? Are they ignoring me? But their ego guards the door like a soldier on duty. Not yet. Not in these first 5 days. Their ego won't allow those questions to fully bloom because the illusion of control feels too good, too safe, too comfortable. They tell themselves, I'm fine. I don't even notice, but silence is like a smoke alarm in the night. At first, they try to tune it out. Then it's all they can hear. The toughest part of this phase isn't even theirs. It's yours. Because your ego is also loud right now. It tells you, check their story. Send just one text. It's not a big deal. Just a quick hello. But that, my friends, is your old programming fighting for survival. Just like their ego is clinging to the old pattern, yours is too. And here's the truth. You're not battling them yet. You're battling yourself. Growth has never been comfortable. Think of a snake shedding its skin. The old layer doesn't slide off easily. It's messy. It itches. It takes time. And for a moment, the snake looks vulnerable, exposed. But that's how transformation happens. In these first days, you're shedding. They can't feel the cracks in their ego yet, but you can feel the cracks in your old habits. And that's the test. Can you sit in the discomfort long enough to let silence do the work? Science even backs this up. Studies have shown that uncertainty lights up the same areas of the brain as physical pain. That's why silence feels like fire, not just for them, but for you, because the human brain craves closure, it craves certainty, and silence offers neither. It's a gap, an unknown, and when you've been used to chasing, to filling the void, it feels unbearable not to break it. But this is exactly where power is born, in the ability to sit in that unknown without trying to fill it. Their lie during these days is simple. They'll reach out first. I don't need to do anything. And that lie feels solid. It comforts them the way a blanket comforts a child afraid of the dark. But what happens when the child realizes the blanket doesn't actually keep the monsters away? The fear creeps in, slowly, inevitably. That's what's coming for them, but not yet. Right now, they're still strutting through their house of mirrors, smiling at the distorted reflection that tells them they're untouchable. And here's where I'll break the truth wide open for you, my friends. Nothing is happening. Wrong. Everything is happening. You just can't see it yet. The cracks are invisible now, but they're there. Your silence has already shifted the rhythm. They just haven't noticed the beat is gone, but they will. So what do you do in these first days? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's the hardest thing in the world when your heart is pounding, your ego is screaming, your mind is restless. But that's also the most powerful move you can make. Don't check, don't chase, don't explain, because the silence is already working. And if you break it now, you reset the game. You hand them back the illusion of control. Don't do it. Instead, anchor yourself in this truth. Every second you hold the silence, you are softening the ground beneath their ego. Every day you resist the urge to break the pattern, you are letting the cracks spread just a little more. And though they can't feel it yet, soon they will. So here's what I want you to write in the comments right now. Say it loud. Say it proud. I let the silence speak. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're no longer playing by their rules, that you're strong enough to sit in stillness while their ego hums its old song. Stay with me, folks, because this is only the beginning. The cracks may be invisible now, but wait until you see what happens when the first ripple of doubt disturbs their reflection. That's when silence begins to roar. Number 2, day 6 to 10, the first cracks appear. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca left us those words centuries ago, and my friends, they strike right at the heart of these next few days. Because right now, while you hold your silence steady, they're beginning to waste something they thought they had in endless supply: time, attention, and the grip of control. Up until now, their ego has been strutting around like a king in his castle. They told themselves you'd be back, convinced nothing was different. But silence doesn't sit still. Silence is like water dripping on stone, slow, steady, impossible to ignore. By day 6, the drip begins to echo in their mind. By day 7, the pond of their thoughts is no longer still. A ripple spreads across the surface. And ripples, my friends, never stop at the point of impact. They reach every edge. Picture a forest at dusk. Quiet, peaceful. Then, somewhere in the distance, a branch snaps. Just one. The sound is small, almost nothing. But now the forest doesn't feel peaceful anymore, does it? That one sound makes you question everything around you. That's what your silence does in these days. It's that single branch snapping in the dark. It unsettles them. They start to ask questions they swore they'd never need to ask. Why haven't I heard from them? Are they busy? Or did they move on? Their ego hates those questions. Ego thrives on certainty, on the illusion of control. But doubt is poison to ego, and doubt is exactly what silence brings. You see, the human brain is wired for patterns. It finds comfort in rhythm. Sun rises, sun sets, texts come in, reassurance follows. That's the beat they've danced to for so long. But silence breaks the rhythm. It's like listening to a song that suddenly skips. The moment the pattern breaks, the mind can't help but ask, what's wrong with the track? Here's the truth. Their lie in this phase is loud and clear. I don't care. I don't even notice. They'll even laugh about it, toss out casual lines to friends, maybe even brag that your silence means nothing. But their actions betray them. They check their phone more often. They scroll through old conversations. They hover over your profile, not pressing anything, but looking all the same. And here's the funny part. When they catch themselves doing it, they get annoyed, not at you, at themselves, because deep down they know the ripple is spreading. Let me give you another picture. Imagine a dam holding back a massive river. On the outside it looks strong, solid, indestructible, but deep inside a tiny leak begins, just a trickle at first. No one sees it. No one cares, but left alone, that trickle carves into the stone. It spreads, it multiplies, until the entire dam feels the pressure. My friends, that's what days 6 through 10 are, the tiny leak in the dam of their ego. They'll tell themselves it's nothing, but the water is already moving. And yes, you'll feel it too. You'll wonder, is this working? Do they even notice? Or am I just torturing myself for nothing? That voice is normal. It's the part of you still clinging to the old pattern, desperate for a hit of certainty. But let me remind you, the ripple works quietly. You can't see it, but you will see the results. If you rush in now, if you send that just checking in message, you don't just stop the ripple. You reset the pond back to still water. You give them their illusion back. Don't do it. Here's the psychology of it. Studies on social exclusion show that being ignored lights up the same part of the brain as physical pain. That means silence isn't just uncomfortable, it hurts. It burns. They'll try to numb it, distract themselves, drown it in noise. But the ripple never goes away. Every second of silence is another drop in the pond, another leak in the dam, another crack in the mirror they've been hiding behind. So what's really happening in their head right now? They're not panicking, not yet, but they are unsettled. They feel a shift, and even if they don't admit it, they know something's different. The absence of your voice, your energy, your presence, it's louder than any words you could have sent, and that absence grows heavier each day. My friends, this is where your discipline matters most. Silence isn't about proving a point in a day. It's about letting time do the carving. You've planted the ripple. Now let it spread. Don't fill the void. Don't explain the silence. Let them wrestle with the questions they swore they'd never ask. Write this in the comments right now. I am the ripple they cannot ignore. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you understand the power of patience, the strength of letting silence do what words never could. Because trust me, folks, this ripple, it's only the beginning. Stay with me, because when day 11 arrives, that ripple becomes a crack in their armor. And cracks, my friends, are impossible to ignore. Number 3. Day 11 to 15. The armor starts to crack. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi spoke those words, and right now, in days 11 through 15 of your silence, their wound is beginning to split wide open. Up until now, their ego has been patched together with denial. They convinced themselves everything was fine. They told themselves the silence meant nothing. But here, in this stretch of days, the cracks become impossible to ignore. Their armor, that shiny shield they've been hiding behind, starts to fracture. And every fracture is a reminder that they are not in control. Think of a mighty dam that has stood for decades, holding back a river with ease. To the outside world, it looks invincible. But inside, deep beneath the surface, cracks have formed. Hairline at first, barely noticeable, but pressure doesn't stop. The river doesn't wait, and with every passing second, the water presses harder and harder against the weak points. That's what your silence has become, the pressure they can't escape. Day 11 is when they first notice the cracks. By day 15, they can't look away. Let's step into their mind for a moment. They used to scroll through old conversations just for comfort, sure they'd see the same old pattern. But now, when they scroll, instead of reassurance, they feel panic. They start replaying the last words you said. They wonder if they pushed too far, if they took too much, if they underestimated you. That thought terrifies them because it's a thought they've worked hard to avoid. Their ego whispers, "You still have control," but the whisper doesn't land the same way it used to. It feels weak, like a king trying to calm his army while the castle walls shake. And here's the lie they cling to in these days. They're just playing a game. That lie buys them time. It soothes their pride. It allows them to believe you'll crack first, that this silence is nothing more than a stunt. But the longer the days stretch, the weaker that lie becomes. It's like holding a sweater by a loose thread. They think one pull will fix it, but instead, the entire fabric starts to unravel. Every second of silence is another tug on that thread, another piece of ego unraveling. Picture this: a soldier in full armor marching confidently into battle. From the outside they look unstoppable, but inside the armor the straps are loosening, the plates are shifting, and with every step they feel the weight growing heavier, the cracks widening. That's them right now. They may still look fine to others, they may still post, still laugh, still act like nothing's wrong, but inside they're carrying armor that's falling apart. And the worst part, they know it. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort of holding two truths that don't match. They told themselves, "I don't need them," but your silence proves otherwise. They told themselves, "I'm in control," but every day that passes proves they aren't. That dissonance grows unbearable. They start losing sleep, thinking too much, checking their phone with no new notifications waiting. They might even start venting to friends without realizing they've admitted the truth. It feels weird. I thought they'd reach out by now. And my friends, here's where your battle gets harder too. Because when you sense their armor cracking, when you sense their mind slipping, you'll feel the pull to break the silence. You'll want to test if they're noticing, if the cracks are real. But don't. Because the dam doesn't burst if the pressure stops. The armor doesn't shatter if you give them a break. Silence is the force that keeps the cracks spreading. Don't interrupt the process. This is where discipline becomes power. You are not ignoring them to be cruel. You are holding the silence to let the truth do the work. You are giving their ego the one thing it cannot stand: time to sit alone without you. Every second of it is a mirror, reflecting back their mistakes, their pride, their overconfidence. And no matter how much they try to avoid that mirror, by day 15, it's staring them down. So claim this moment, folks. Write this in the comments right now. I am the pressure they cannot escape. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you understand the art of patience, that you're strong enough to let silence do what arguments never could. Stay with me, because the cracks are spreading, and soon, very soon, that armor will collapse completely. And when it does, the fear of being replaced will strike them harder than they ever imagined. Number 4, day 16 to 20, the fear of irrelevance. Nothing, to my way of thinking, is better proof of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stop where he is and pass some time in his own company. Seneca said that, my friends. But in these days, 16 through 20, they are failing that test miserably, because silence has now moved from being a question mark in their mind to becoming a spotlight on their greatest fear, being irrelevant, being replaced, being forgotten. Up until now, they clung to lies. They'll come back. They're just playing a game. They can't live without me, but lies, like weak scaffolding, can only hold so long before the weight of truth comes crashing down. And right now, the weight pressing down on them is unbearable. Your silence has stretched into its 3rd week. 3 weeks without their usual dose of validation. 3 weeks without reassurance. 3 weeks without the pattern they thought was theirs forever. And now the question burns louder than any they've faced so far. Have I been replaced? Picture a throne in a grand hall, gold and velvet, a symbol of power. At first it sits empty and no one worries. The king has just stepped away. But the longer that throne stays empty, the more whispers spread. Who will sit there next? That's exactly what's happening in their mind. For so long, they believed their seat in your life was permanent, irreplaceable, untouchable. But your silence has left that throne wide open, and now their ego trembles at the thought that someone else could be sitting in it. And let's be clear, this isn't just insecurity, this is primal. The fear of replacement taps into something deep within us, something older than language. To be replaced means to lose value, to lose status, to lose identity. And ego, my friends, ego cannot survive that. They start imagining things, filling in the blanks with the worst-case scenarios. They picture you laughing with someone else. They wonder if you're talking late into the night, if someone else is hearing the words they once took for granted. Their imagination becomes their punishment. Here's the lie they'll repeat to themselves during these days. I'm irreplaceable. No one could ever take my spot. They'll cling to it like a drowning man clings to driftwood. But deep down, your silence is the proof they can't ignore. Because if they were truly irreplaceable, why does the throne feel so cold? Why does the silence sting so much? Why does the absence of your presence echo louder than their pride? Let me give you another picture. Imagine an athlete who always assumed they were the star player, never doubted their position, never worried about the bench. But then one day, they show up and see someone else warming up in their spot. The panic sets in. Not because they've been benched yet, but because the possibility is suddenly real. That's the storm raging inside their mind right now. And this fear doesn't just stay in their head. It shows up in their actions. They might start posting more, trying to show they're fine, pretending they're living their best life. They might drop vague hints online, hoping you'll see. They might talk louder in social circles, bragging more, trying to drown out the panic with performance. But every performance is a mask. And the longer the silence stretches, the heavier the mask becomes. Psychologists call this ambiguous loss, when closure is missing, when you can't confirm whether something is gone or still there. It's torture for the mind, because it spins endlessly in uncertainty, and your silence keeps them locked in that space. Every day of these 16 to 20 is a loop of questions without answers, and those questions eat at the ego like acid. And yes, you'll feel the pull here too. You'll wonder if maybe you should remind them, maybe you should prove that no one has taken their place. But hear me clearly. If you step in now, you hand their ego a lifeline. You let them believe they were right all along. That's not strength. That's surrender. Hold the silence and let their own imagination do the work. Because nothing you could say would cut deeper than the stories they're already telling themselves. So, my friends, let's carve this moment into stone. Write this in the comments right now. I am the standard they measure others by. Say it loud. Say it proudly. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not chasing to prove your worth. You are the measure by which others are judged. Stay with me because of this fear of being replaced. It's only the beginning. Desperation wears many masks, and in the next stage, they'll start wearing every single one of them. Number 5. Day 21 to 23. The Mask of Strength. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. B1 Marcus Aurelius gave us that truth, and in these days, 21 through 23, their ego is doing the exact opposite. Instead of being real, instead of facing themselves honestly, they are putting on a show. They are busy performing, covering up the cracks with masks, pretending they're strong, pretending they're unbothered. But the truth? Their performance is desperation dressed up as confidence. My friends, let's paint the picture. Imagine a massive castle sitting on a hill, stone walls reaching high into the clouds. From a distance, it looks unshakable. Flags fly proudly, torches burn bright. Music echoes from inside the walls. Anyone passing by would think, wow, nothing can touch that fortress. But walk closer and you see the truth. Stones loosening, vines creeping through the cracks, banners hiding walls ready to crumble. That's them right now. They may look unshaken from the outside, but silence has already weakened their foundation. How does this look in real life? Suddenly, they're posting more on social media. They're smiling wider in pictures, talking louder in groups, sharing motivational quotes about independence, about how they're thriving, about how life is perfect without you. But here's the funny part. They weren't doing that before. They only started the moment the silence got too heavy to carry. That's not strength. That's fear wearing a costume. Psychology even has a name for this game: reaction formation. It's when someone behaves in the exact opposite way of how they actually feel. They're hurting, but they post about happiness. They're desperate, but they act indifferent. They're lonely, but they flood the world with noise. They are crumbling inside, but the mask must stay on, because if they take it off, everyone, including themselves, will see the truth. Here's the lie they cling to these days: I'm unbothered. It's the mantra they whisper every time they hit post, every time they force a laugh, every time they fake a smile. But the problem with masks is that they're heavy. You can't wear them forever, and the longer they pretend, the more exhausting it becomes. You know this too, don't you? Because we've all worn that mask before, smiling through pain, laughing while breaking inside. It's exhausting, it's fake, and it never holds for long. Think of a stormy sea. A sailor waves from his boat, smiling, shouting that everything is fine. But if you look closely, you'll see water flooding the deck. The boat is sinking. His arms wave higher, not because he's thriving, but because he's desperate not to drown. That's exactly what these days are for them. The smiles, the noise, the activity. It's all arms waving in panic, trying to convince themselves and others that they're fine. But deep down, they know they're not. And here's where your own test comes in, my friends. Because seeing them post more, seeing them act happy, seeing them play this mask game, it might trick you into thinking you're losing. It might make you believe that they've moved on while you're still holding silence. But hear me clearly, performance is not peace. The louder the mask, the weaker the foundation. They are not thriving. They are trying to convince themselves they are. This is why your silence matters most right now. If you break it here, if you reach out just to remind them you're still around, you give their mask oxygen. You let them believe their act worked. But if you stay silent, if you let the performance burn itself out, the mask will slip. It always does. And when it does, the truth will hit them harder than any words you could have spoken. So here's what I want you to do. Anchor yourself in this truth. Their castle is crumbling, their boat is sinking, their mask is slipping, and the only reason they're working so hard to perform is because your silence is doing its job. Every day you stay steady, their performance grows weaker, their act grows thinner, their desperation grows louder. Claim your strength right now. Write this in the comments. I hold steady while the mask slips. Say it loud. Say it proudly. Show yourself. Show the world that while they dance to hide their fear, you remain grounded, unmoved, and unshaken. Stay with me, folks, because the mask can't stay on forever. Soon the cracks will spread too wide, and when that castle finally collapses, their ego won't just bend, it will break. And that, my friends, is when the spiral begins. Number 6. Day 24 to 26. The spiral of doubt. The worst loneliness is to not be comfortable with yourself. Mark Twain left us that line, and in these days, 24 through 26, it hits them like a hammer to the chest. Because right now, my friends, they are not comfortable with themselves, not even close. Your silence has stripped away the noise, torn down the banners, ripped off the masks they've been hiding behind. And now they're left face to face with the one thing they've been running from since the very first day: You, or rather, the absence of you. Think of it like this. Imagine a thread pulled from a sweater. At first it's small, almost harmless, but the more you tug at it, the more the whole sweater unravels. That's what's happening inside their mind right now. Your silence is the tug, and their confidence is the sweater. Every day of silence pulls another thread. By day 24, the fabric is falling apart, and they're scrambling to hold it together with shaking hands. Up until now, they've told themselves the same lies. I don't care. They'll be back. I'm fine, but by this stage, those lies sound hollow, even to them. They don't believe their own story anymore. They start revisiting old memories, scrolling through your pictures, rereading old messages, replaying your last conversation, and instead of feeling powerful, they start to feel something they thought they'd never feel: regret. Was I too cold? Did I push too hard? Did I take them for granted? Those questions echo louder than ever, and there's no distraction big enough to silence them. My friends, this is the spiral of doubt. It's not just insecurity, it's psychological warfare, and the battlefield is inside their own mind. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance. It's what happens when their beliefs and their reality no longer match. They believed they were in control. They believed they didn't need you, but your silence proves otherwise. Their actions, their words, their story, it's all out of sync now, and the discomfort is eating them alive. Picture a sinking ship out at sea. The sailors are frantically tossing cargo overboard, trying to stay afloat. That's what their ego is doing right now. They're throwing out excuses, explanations, rationalizations. They must be busy. They're just trying to make me jealous, but no matter how much cargo they toss, the water keeps rushing in. The ship is sinking, and they know it. And let me tell you this, they'll start showing it in small, subtle ways. They'll lurk on your profile more often. They'll ask mutual friends about you. They might even like an old picture or send out cryptic posts, hoping you'll notice. But every action screams the same truth: they're losing grip. The silence they thought they could ignore is now a weight they can't carry. Here's the lie they cling to in these days: I still have control. But their own mind betrays them. Because if they were in control, why are they restless? Why can't they stop thinking about you? Why do they keep reaching for answers in places where there are none? That's the spiral. The more they try to convince themselves, the deeper they sink into doubt. And yes, my friends, this is where your own battle sharpens. Because when you sense their doubt, when you see the signs of their cracks widening, you'll feel tempted to step in, to remind them you're still there. But if you do, you rescue their ego, not their heart. You patch up the cracks just enough to give them relief, and all your silence has built so far crumbles. Don't do it. Hold steady. Because here's the power play. Silence doesn't just create doubt. It forces them to sit in it. It forces them to wrestle with their choices, to stare at the empty throne, to face the possibility that you're gone for good. And that, my friends, is a pain far deeper than any argument or explanation could ever deliver. So claim this moment, let them spiral, let them tug at the thread until the sweater unravels in their own hands. Don't interfere with the process. Your job is not to rescue their ego. Your job is to protect your peace, to stand strong, to let silence reveal what words never could. Write this in the comments right now. I am the thread that unravels their ego. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not chasing, you're not pleading, you're not patching up what was never your job to fix. You are holding the silence, and the silence is doing the work. Stay with me, folks, because the spiral of doubt doesn't end here. As the days press on, doubt turns into panic, and when panic sets in, that's when they'll start reaching out in ways they never expected. And that's where the storm truly begins. Number 7. Day 30. The Shattered Mirror. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Zeno of Citium, the father of Stoicism, gave us that truth. And my friends, here on day 30, it has never rung louder. Because this is it, the day of reckoning, the final chapter, the moment their ego can no longer hide behind lies, masks, or distractions. Your silence has lasted an entire month, and by now it's no longer an inconvenience. It's no longer a ripple. It's a storm that has stripped them bare, left them alone with the one thing they fear most, themselves. Picture a mirror that's been slowly cracking for weeks. At first, just a hairline fracture, easy to ignore. Then the crack spread, thin lines racing across the glass, distorting the reflection. By day 30, the mirror shatters completely. No more illusions, no more flattering images, no more lies, only jagged pieces reflecting back the truth they've been running from. And that truth is simple. They underestimated you. For 30 days, their ego tried every trick in the book. At first, it laughed. They'll be back. They always come back. Then it denied. I don't care. I'm fine without them. Then it wore a mask. Look at me. I'm thriving. And finally, it panicked, throwing out bait, hoping for a bite. But today, all of those defenses lie in ruins. Their pride is no longer a shield. Their control is no longer an illusion. They are standing before the shattered mirror of your silence, and what they see staring back is not strength. It's emptiness. Let's step inside their head. For weeks they told themselves stories. They convinced themselves you were bluffing, that you'd break, that this was just a temporary pause. But the silence never broke. You didn't fold. You didn't come running back. And now, for the first time, they realize something that terrifies them. You've changed. You're no longer playing the role they wrote for you. You're no longer chasing. You're no longer feeding their ego. And without that, who are they? Their identity is shaken because their power was built on your reaction. Without it, they are forced to face a reflection they can't escape. Think of it like this. Imagine a stage actor who has spent years performing for an audience that never stopped clapping. They lived for the applause, the validation, the noise. But one night, they walk onto the stage and the seats are empty. No one is watching, no one is clapping, just silence echoing through the hall. That's day 30 for them. They're finally realizing the applause they thought was guaranteed is gone, and the silence is deafening. The lie they held on to until now, I'm still in control, dies here. They know they've lost control. They know they miscalculated. And that realization cuts deeper than any argument or explanation ever could. Because words they could debate, silence they can't. It's a verdict delivered without trial, a judgment rendered without you ever lifting a finger. And here's the shift that makes this moment so powerful. It's not even about them anymore. It's about you. For 30 days, you've battled your own urges. You've resisted the pull to break the silence. You've stared down your own ego, your own fear, your own doubt. And by holding steady, you conquered yourself first. That is the true victory. Not that their ego crumbled, but that you rose above yours. This is why Zeno's words matter. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. You've done what most people never have the discipline to do. You've held the silence. You've let it reveal the truth. You've allowed time, not chasing, to shift the balance of power. And the result? Their ego is shattered, but your strength is unshakable. So now, my friends, as we close this 30-day journey, let's be crystal clear. Silence is not passive. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power. It dismantles illusions. It starves the ego. It forces truth to surface, and it transforms you into someone who no longer needs to explain, beg, or prove. You don't chase. You don't compete. You don't play games. You stand, you breathe, you conquer yourself, and in doing so, you become the silence they can never forget. So here's your final affirmation. Write this in the comments right now. I am the silence that reveals the truth. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you've walked through the fire of these 30 days and come out sharper, stronger, and freer than you've ever been. And if this journey hit home, press that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Stay with me, because though their ego just shattered, your new chapter has only begun.